The necklace rested in my palm one final time, gold and garnets catching the afternoon light. My grandmother's voice echoed in my memory, for the women in our family who know their worth. I traced the delicate chain, remembering how she'd clasped it around my neck on my 16th birthday. Now, at 32, I was about to surrender it to a pawnbroker. I'm Elise, and this wasn't my choice. Just sign here, Mrs. Mitchell. The pawnbroker slid the paperwork across the counter, his expression carefully neutral. The amount seemed insulting, $300 for something priceless. But Ryan had been clear, either I pawned it, or he would. My phone buzzed. Ryan again. Did you do it? I'm at the shop now. Good girl. I knew you'd understand. His voice carried that familiar blend of condescension and charm. This is for our family, honey. I'll get it back once this deal comes through. I wanted to scream that there wouldn't be another deal, that his promises were as worthless as his gambling debts. Instead, I said, Sophie's waiting for me to pick her up from school. Give Daddy's little princess a kiss for me. The line went dead before I could respond. I signed the paper, my signature trembling slightly. The pawnbroker counted out the bills, and I felt something inside me harden. At home, Sophie colored at the kitchen table while I prepared dinner, her small face scrunched in concentration. Mommy, where's your pretty necklace? The knife paused over the carrots. It needed cleaning, sweetheart. Can I wear it when I'm big like you? My throat tightened. We'll see. The front door slammed, and Ryan's footsteps echoed through the house. He appeared in the doorway, loosening his tie. Something smells good. Sophie jumped up. Daddy! He scooped her up, and for a moment, I saw the man I'd married, handsome, charming, full of promises. Then his eyes met mine, and I recognized the hollow victory in them. Go wash up for dinner, princess, he said, setting her down. Once she was gone, he approached me, wrapping his arms around my waist from behind. You did the right thing today. I kept chopping. Did I? Come on, Elise. Don't be like that. This is temporary. Besides, what good was that necklace doing just sitting in your jewelry box? It was mine. The words came out sharper than I intended. His grip tightened. We're married. What's yours is mine, remember? I needed that money for an investment opportunity. You want our family to succeed, don't you? Another gambling debt. Another investment opportunity. Another piece of me chipped away. Of course, I whispered, but something else whispered back, liar. That night, after Sophie was asleep, I sat at my computer, translating a German business contract. Ryan thought I spent my evenings browsing social media or watching Netflix. He had no idea that for the past year, I'd been working as a freelance translator, building my own safety net, one word at a time. My phone lit up with a message from Clara, got another project for you. Big money. Interested? I glanced at our bedroom door, where Ryan's snores drifted through. The man who thought he controlled everything, our money, our lives, our future. The man who didn't know his wife spoke 4 languages or had her own bank account. Yes, I typed back. I'm definitely interested. The necklace was gone, but my grandmother's words remained. For the women in our family who know their worth. I was beginning to understand exactly what that meant. And Ryan? He was about to learn that some debts can never be repaid. The photo album lay open on my lap, a snapshot of Ryan and me on our honeymoon staring back. His arm around my waist, both of us laughing on that Hawaiian beach. 7 years felt like 7 lifetimes ago. Mommy, why are you looking at old pictures? Sophie climbed onto the couch beside me, her small fingers tracing the edges of the photograph. I closed the album quickly. Just remembering things, sweetheart. The front door opened, and Ryan's voice boomed through the house. Family meeting. Living room, now. Sophie bounced off the couch, but I remained seated, my stomach nodding. Family meetings were Ryan's way of announcing his latest schemes. He strode in, still wearing his sales manager badge, face flushed with excitement. I've got amazing news. Remember Tom from accounting? He's got this foolproof system for. Not in front of Sophie, I cut in. His eyes narrowed, but his smile stayed fixed. Princess, why don't you go play in your room for a bit? Mommy and Daddy need to talk. Once Sophie was gone, Ryan pulled out his phone, showing me a series of numbers and charts. Tom's been tracking these patterns for months. If we can just get a stake together. We don't have any money to stake, Ryan. My voice came out steadier than I felt. That's not entirely true, is it? He sat beside me, too close. I saw the credit union statement in your purse. My blood ran cold. The separate account where I'd been storing my translation earnings, he wasn't supposed to know about that. You've been holding out on me, Elise. His tone was light, but his fingers dug into my knee. That's not very wifely of you. That money is for Sophie's future. He laughed, but it didn't reach his eyes. Everything I do is for Sophie's future. For our future. Why can't you see that? Like pawning my grandmother's necklace? The words escaped before I could stop them. His grip tightened. I thought we were past that. You know I'll get it back. Like you got back my mother's silver? Or my engagement ring? Ryan stood abruptly. I'm trying to provide for this family. All I need is $5,000. With Tom's system. No. I surprised myself with the firmness in my voice. He turned, and for a moment, I glimpsed something dangerous in his expression. No? I said no, Ryan. The silence stretched between us like a rubber band about to snap. Then his face softened, and he knelt before me, taking my hands in his. Baby, don't you remember how good we used to be? Look at us. He nodded toward the photo album. We can have that again. I just need you to trust me. I looked into his pleading eyes and saw the man I'd fallen in love with, charming, ambitious, full of dreams. But beneath that facade lurked the man who'd sold my grandmother's necklace, who tracked my spending. Who made me account for every minute away from home. I have to pick up Sophie's prescription, I said, standing. We can talk about this later. His hand caught my wrist. The credit union closes at 5. We could stop there first. I pulled away. I said later, Ryan. In Sophie's room, I found her arranging her dolls in a circle. Ready to go, sweetie? She looked up, worried. Are you and Daddy fighting? No, we're just talking. I helped her with her shoes, trying to keep my hands from shaking. Hey, want to visit Grandma Martha this weekend? Her face lit up. Can we make cookies? Of course. I grabbed my phone, typing quickly to Clara, need that big project now. Emergency. Her response came immediately, come to the office tomorrow. Got something perfect for you. As we headed to the car, Ryan called from the doorway. Don't forget, Elise. Family meeting isn't over. I buckled Sophie into her car seat, remembering another thing my grandmother used to say, sometimes the bravest thing a woman can do is say no. Looking back at our house, at Ryan's silhouette in the doorway, I realized I'd said my first real no today. And somehow, I knew it wouldn't be my last. Clara's office felt like stepping into another world, all clean lines and modern furniture, nothing like my carefully maintained suburban prison. She handed me a steaming espresso and settled behind her desk. It's a contract with a major publishing house, she said. 6 months of work, excellent pay. But there's a catch, they need you in-house 3 days a week. The cup trembled in my hands. Ryan would never. Stop. Clara leaned forward. Stop telling me what Ryan would never allow. This is your career we're talking about. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. A text from Ryan, where are you? Sophie's asking for breakfast. Tell him you're at the grocery store, Clara suggested, watching me type. I hate lying. Like he hated lying about gambling away your grandmother's necklace? The truth of it stung. I set down my phone, my decision made. When do they need an answer? A knock interrupted us. Clara's assistant poked her head in. Mrs. Mitchell? There's someone here insisting on seeing you. Says he's your husband. The espresso turned to acid in my stomach. Clara stood. I'll handle this. No. I grabbed my bag. I need to face him. Ryan stood in the reception area, still in his work clothes, his sales manager smile firmly in place. Honey, imagine my surprise when I tracked your phone and found you here instead of the grocery store. The receptionist studiously avoided looking at us. Ryan, I can explain. Oh, I think I understand perfectly. He gestured around the office. This is where you've been hiding your little side business. Making your secret money. His voice stayed pleasant, but his eyes were cold. Get your things. We're leaving. Actually, Clara stepped forward. Elise is in the middle of a meeting. Ryan's smile widened. A family matter takes precedence. Right, honey? That word, honey, dripped with warning. I thought of Sophie, probably still in her pajamas, wondering where I was. Of the credit union account he'd discovered. Of all the careful plans I'd made, unraveling. You should go, I told Clara quietly. She hesitated, then nodded. Call me later. Once we were alone, Ryan's facade cracked. You've been working behind my back this whole time? Making me look like a fool? I was protecting our family. By lying? By sneaking around? He grabbed my arm, his fingers digging in. I saw the deposits, Elise. Thousands of dollars. While I've been killing myself at work, you've been here, playing career woman? I tried to pull away. You're hurting me. You know what hurts? Finding out your wife has been living a double life. His grip tightened. That money could have changed everything. Tom's system. Is another gambling scheme. The words exploded out of me. You need help, Ryan. Professional help. His hand struck my face before I registered him moving. The shock of it silenced us both. Mrs. Mitchell? The receptionist's voice crackled over the intercom. Should I call security? Ryan released me, straightening his tie. That won't be necessary. My wife and I were just leaving. His professional mask slipped back into place. Weren't we, honey? I touched my cheek, feeling the heat of the mark he'd left. In that moment, I saw our future with perfect clarity, the escalating control, the violence barely contained. Sophie growing up thinking this was normal. No, I said quietly. What did you say? I met his gaze. I said no. I'm not leaving with you. He stepped closer, his voice dropping to a whisper. Think very carefully about what you're doing, Elise. Think about Sophie. I am thinking about Sophie. I moved toward the reception desk. That's exactly why I'm done. You walk away now, you'll regret it. His charm vanished completely. I'll make sure of it. I turned to the receptionist. Call security. As the elevator doors closed on Ryan's furious face, my phone buzzed with his final message, You want a war? You got one. I deleted the text and dialed my mother's number. Mom? I need you to pick up Sophie from school today. And I need a place to stay. The war had begun. But this time, I wasn't fighting alone. My mother's kitchen hadn't changed in 20 years. The same yellow curtains, the same cookie jar shaped like a chicken, the same sense of safety. But tonight, something was different. I watched Sophie pushing peas around her plate while Martha and Henry exchanged worried glances. The bruise is darkening, my mother said quietly, touching my cheek. I pulled away. It's nothing. Like the nothing I saw last Christmas? Henry's voice carried an edge I'd never heard before. The fingerprints on your wrist? Before I could respond, my phone lit up. Ryan's mother, Linda. Elise, what's this about security escorting Ryan from your office? Her voice trembled. He's devastated. Says you're trying to ruin him. I stepped onto the back porch, closing the door on Sophie's laughter as Henry performed his famous dinner table magic tricks. Linda, it's complicated. Peter and I raised him better than this. Whatever's happened, surely we can fix it as a family. Family. The word felt hollow now. Did Ryan tell you about the gambling? Silence stretched across the line. Or about pawning my grandmother's necklace? About tracking my phone? About. He needs help, Linda interrupted. And you're his wife. In sickness and in health, remember? What about Sophie? Who helps her when she sees her father? I stopped, hearing the crack in my own voice. He's at our house now, planning to pick up Sophie from school tomorrow. Says it's his right as her father. My blood ran cold. Linda, please. I thought you should know. She hung up. I rushed inside, finding my father already on the phone with his lawyer friend. Martha held Sophie on her lap, reading her a bedtime story as if nothing was wrong. As if her world wasn't about to shatter. The emergency custody order is being filed tonight, Henry said, covering the phone. But Elise, there's something else. The lawyer found multiple credit cards in your name. Accounts you didn't open. The room tilted sideways. I gripped the kitchen counter, remembering all the times Ryan had handled the mail, insisted on managing our finances. Claimed he was protecting me from stress. My phone buzzed again. A text from Clara, check your email now. The message contained screenshots of gambling site transactions, thousands of dollars, all traced to accounts in my name. Below them, loan applications with my forged signature. He's trying to destroy me, I whispered. No, Martha said, her voice steel. He's trying to keep you trapped. There's a difference. Sophie looked up from her book. Mommy, are we having a sleepover at Grandma's? I forced a smile. Yes, sweetheart. A special sleepover. After Sophie was tucked in, I sat at my parents' kitchen table, surrounded by papers, bank statements, credit reports, loan documents. Each page revealed another betrayal, another noose Ryan had quietly placed around my neck. The lawyer says we can prove fraud, Henry said. But it'll take time. Time we don't have. I showed them Linda's text about Ryan's plans for tomorrow. Martha's hand found mine. Then we fight. All of us, together. My phone lit up one final time. Ryan. I know you're at your parents', he wrote. Come home now, and we'll forget this happened. Or tomorrow, I show the police evidence of your gambling addiction and financial fraud. Your choice, honey. I stared at the message, remembering all the choices that had led to this moment. The first time I'd hidden money. The first bruise I'd covered up. The first lie I'd told Sophie about why Daddy was angry. No more choices, I typed back. No more chances. Then I blocked his number and opened my laptop. If Ryan wanted to play this game, he'd learn I wasn't the same woman who'd once believed his promises. I had proof of my translations work, timestamps of my earnings, witnesses to his abuse. But more importantly, I had something he'd never expected, the strength to fight back. Clara, I called, dialing her number. Remember that publishing house job? I'm in. And I need every record you have of our work together. The war had escalated, but this time, I wasn't just fighting for myself. I was fighting for Sophie, for the truth, and for every choice Ryan had ever taken from me. The emergency custody hearing loomed tomorrow morning, but first I had to face something harder, explaining to Sophie why we couldn't go home. She sat on my parents' guest bed, clutching her stuffed giraffe, while I packed an overnight bag with shaking hands. But I forgot Sparkles, she said, meaning her favorite bedtime story book. Can't we just go get it? The bruise on my cheek throbbed. Not tonight, sweetie. My phone buzzed. A video message from Ryan. Against my better judgment, I opened it. Sophie's bedroom appeared on screen, sparkles prominent on her pillow. Ryan's voice, soft and dangerous, everything's waiting for you both. Come home, and this all goes away. Stay away, and I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of mother abandons her family. A text followed, check your email. There they were, screenshots of every translation payment I'd received, doctored to look like gambling transactions. Bank statements altered to show massive withdrawals. A narrative crafted to destroy me. Elise? Clara appeared in the doorway. The lawyer's here. Downstairs, papers covered the dining room table. The lawyer, James, pointed to highlighted sections of documents. He's moved fast. Already filed for full custody, claiming financial misconduct and abandonment. But I have proof. Which will take time to verify. Time he's counting on you not having. Martha brought coffee, her hand steady but her face pale. There must be something we can do. James hesitated. There is, but you won't like it. Before he could continue, Henry burst in. Ryan's outside. I rushed to the window. Ryan's car idled at the curb, headlights off. As I watched, Linda emerged from the passenger side. I'll call the police, Clara said. Wait. I grabbed her arm. Sophie's finally asleep. I don't want her seeing any of this. The doorbell rang. Once. Twice. Then Linda's voice, Elise, please. Let's talk about this like family. I moved toward the door, but Henry blocked my path. You don't owe them anything. But I do. I met his eyes. I owe Sophie a mother who stands her ground. Linda stood on the porch alone, Ryan's shadowy figure visible in the car behind her. She'd been crying. He's not himself, Elise. The gambling, the debts, he needs help, not abandonment. Like the help he gave me when he forged my signature? When he pawned my grandmother's necklace? She flinched. He told us about your gambling problem. How you've been stealing from the family. Stop. My voice cut through the night air. Look at my face, Linda. Really look. Her eyes fixed on my bruised cheek, then darted away. He said you fell. Into his hand? Multiple times? Movement caught my eye. Ryan stepping out of his car, phone raised. Recording. Think about what this will do to Sophie, Linda pressed. Growing up without a father is better than growing up thinking this is what love looks like. Ryan approached, his sales manager smile firmly in place. Getting all this on video, honey. Every word. Every refusal to let me see my daughter. The courts will love it. Something snapped inside me. Years of careful compliance, of swallowed words and hidden bruises, crystallized into a single moment of clarity. I pulled out my own phone, starting a recording. Perfect. Let's give them a show. Tell them about the credit cards you opened in my name. Show them the gambling sites you accessed using my identity. Explain the bruises. His smile faltered. Or better yet, I continued, let's talk about Tom's foolproof system. The one that cost me my grandmother's necklace. How's that working out? Linda's head snapped toward her son. You said you'd stopped gambling. She's lying, Ryan snarled, mask slipping. She's trying to turn everyone against me. Just like always. But Linda had finally seen it, the darkness behind his charm, the violence in his eyes. Enough, she whispered, backing away from him. Oh God, Ryan. What have you done? I closed the door on both of them, legs barely holding me up. Through the window, I watched Linda walk away from her son, phone to her ear, while Ryan stood frozen, his own phone still recording his unraveling. Tomorrow would bring the custody hearing, the legal battles, the long war ahead. But tonight, I'd won something more valuable than revenge, I'd won the truth. The courthouse steps loomed before me like a mountain. Inside, Ryan waited with his lawyer, armed with doctored documents and practiced charm. I clutched my own evidence folder, bank statements, translation contracts, medical records, wondering if truth alone would be enough. Ready? Clara squeezed my shoulder. Before I could answer, Sophie's teacher called. My hands shook as I answered. Mrs. Mitchell? Sophie's father just picked her up. The world tilted sideways. What? He showed the custody paperwork you both signed last night. My legs gave out. Clara caught me, already dialing her phone. James? Ryan's taken Sophie. Yes, forged documents. Call the police. But I was already running, my heels clicking against pavement, toward the playground where I knew Ryan took his lunch breaks. Where he'd once pushed Sophie on the swings while I packed picnic lunches and pretended we were happy. He stood by the slide, Sophie perched on his shoulders, her pink backpack still on. Playing the devoted father. Look who came to watch mommy lose everything, he called out as I approached. Didn't expect me to think ahead, did you? Put her down, Ryan. Or what? His smile was razor sharp. You'll tell everyone what a monster I am? Show them your bruises? Who do you think they'll believe, the gambling addict wife who abandoned her family, or the devoted father trying to protect his daughter? Sophie squirmed. Daddy, you're squeezing too tight. Ryan. Linda's voice cut through the tension. She stood at the park entrance, Peter beside her. Let her go. Stay out of this, Mom. You don't understand. We understand perfectly. Peter's voice carried the weight of decades of disappointment. The police are on their way. It's over. Ryan's facade cracked. You're choosing her side? After everything I've done for this family? What family? I stepped closer. The one you gambled away? The one you terrorized? The one you're traumatizing right now? Sophie started crying. The sound shattered something in Ryan's eyes. I can fix this, he whispered, more to himself than anyone. I just need time. More money. Tom's system is a lie, Linda interrupted. Like everything else you've told us. Police sirens wailed in the distance. Ryan's grip on Sophie tightened. Don't, I pleaded. Please. Not in front of her. For a moment, I saw him wrestle with his choices, the man he pretended to be versus the man he'd become. Then Sophie whimpered again, and something in him broke. He set her down. She ran to me, burying her face in my legs. I did it for us, he said as officers approached. Everything. The gambling, the lies. I just wanted to be enough. You were, I whispered. Until you decided control was more important than love. They led him away in handcuffs, his sales manager's smile finally, completely gone. Linda touched my arm as she passed, tears in her eyes. We'll testify. About everything. In the aftermath, Sophie clung to me while James explained the legal ramifications. Kidnapping charges. Fraud investigations. A restraining order. The custody hearing's been postponed, he said. But with the forged documents and kidnapping attempt, it's basically over. He's done. I should have felt triumphant. Instead, watching Sophie draw pictures with Clara's phone, I felt hollow. This wasn't the victory I'd wanted. This wasn't even revenge anymore. It was just sad. What do we do now? I asked no one in particular. Now? Martha appeared with Sophie's forgotten lunchbox. Now you live. You work. You show Sophie what strength really looks like. My phone buzzed. The publishing house, contract ready for signing. Start Monday? Sophie looked up. Can we go home now? Home. Not the house where Ryan's anger still echoed, but somewhere new. Somewhere ours. Yes, baby. I picked her up, feeling the weight of her trust. "We're going home. But first, we had one stop to make." The pawnshop where this all began still held my grandmother's necklace. It was time to reclaim it, not as a symbol of what I'd lost, but of what I'd found: my voice, my strength, my worth. The war was over. The healing could begin. The courtroom felt smaller than I remembered. Ryan sat across the aisle, wearing his best suit, and practiced remorse. 3 months of mandatory therapy and anger management had given him a new vocabulary, but his eyes still held that calculating gleam. "All rise." As the judge entered, I touched my grandmother's necklace, recently reclaimed. The garnets felt warm against my skin. "Your Honor," Ryan's lawyer began, "my client has shown remarkable progress. He's completed all court-ordered programs, maintained steady employment, and deeply regrets his actions." Ryan nodded, the perfect picture of rehabilitation. I'd seen this performance before, at our wedding, at Sophie's birth, after every last gambling spree. "Mrs. Mitchell." The judge turned to me. "You filed an objection to supervised visitation?" I stood, feeling the weight of Linda and Peter's presence behind me. "Yes, Your Honor. I have new evidence." Ryan's mask slipped for just a moment. I handed the bailiff a folder. Bank statements from accounts I didn't know existed until last week. Loans taken out in my name as recently as 2 days ago. The judge flipped through the documents while Ryan's lawyer whispered urgently to him. "These are serious allegations," the judge said. "They're lies," Ryan interrupted, standing. "She's trying to destroy me. Just like she destroyed our family." "Mr. Mitchell, sit down." But Ryan was unraveling, just as I'd known he would. Just as he always did when control slipped away. "Tell them, Elise. Tell them how you hid money from me. How you worked behind my back while I tried to provide." "Provide what?" My voice cut through his tirade. "Debt? Fear? Bruises? Order," the judge warned. I pulled out my phone, opening the recording app. "Your Honor, I'd like to play something." Ryan's face went white. His voice filled the courtroom. "You think you're so clever, hiding money from me? I built this family. I own this family. Without me, you're nothing." "That's inadmissible," his lawyer protested. "It's from last night," I said quietly. "When he came to my parents' house, demanding money for another sure thing from Tom." The judge leaned forward. "Mr. Mitchell, is this true?" Ryan's charm crumbled. "She drove me to it. All these years, pretending to be the perfect wife while secretly working, saving money. Because you gambled away everything else." The words burst from me. The necklace was just the beginning. "Tell them about the second mortgage. The credit cards. Sophie's college fund. I would have won it back." Silence fell. Ryan seemed to shrink, realizing what he'd admitted. "Your Honor," his lawyer tried, but the judge held up a hand. "Mr. Mitchell, this court granted provisional visitation rights based on your apparent rehabilitation. These new allegations, combined with your outburst. Please." Ryan's voice cracked. "She's all I have left. They're all I have left." For a moment, I saw him clearly, not as the monster of the past months, or the charming man I'd married, but as someone broken by his own demons. "That's not true," I said softly. "You have choices, Ryan. You've always had choices. You just made the wrong ones." The judge's ruling came down like a hammer: no visitation. Continued restraining order. Criminal charges for the financial fraud. Outside the courtroom, Linda touched my arm. "We've frozen his accounts. He won't be able to take out any more loans." "I'm sorry," I said, meaning it. "I never wanted." "We know." Peter's voice was gruff with emotion. "We should have seen it sooner." Through the courthouse windows, I watched Ryan being led away by his lawyer. He looked small, defeated. The man who'd once towered over my world reduced to what he truly was, a shadow I'd finally stepped out of. Clara waited by her car. Ready for your first day at the publishing house? I touched my grandmother's necklace one last time. The garnets caught the sun, not like blood now, but like fire. Like strength. Yes, I said. I'm ready. The war was over. Not with a bang or even a whimper, but with the quiet certainty of truth finally spoken aloud. And in the end, that was the greatest victory of all. The letter arrived on Sophie's 6th birthday. I recognized Ryan's handwriting on the envelope, but it wasn't addressed to me. For Sophie, "Open when you're older" was written in his careful sales manager script. I set it aside, watching Sophie blow out her candles. Clara had transformed her backyard into a fairy garden, complete with twinkling lights and flower crowns. Martha and Henry handed out cake while Linda helped Sophie unwrap presents. "Mommy, look!" Sophie held up a jewelry box from Linda. Inside lay a delicate silver bracelet with a single charm, a tiny giraffe, like her stuffed animal. "It's beautiful, sweetheart." I caught Linda's eye, saw the mixture of grief and hope there. We'd all lost something in this war, but we'd gained something too. After the party, while Sophie played with her new toys, I found Peter sitting alone on Clara's porch. "Ryan's in a treatment facility in Arizona," he said without preamble. "Real treatment this time. His choice." The night air felt heavy with possibilities and regrets. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because he asked me not to." Peter's hands twisted in his lap. "He said you deserved to move forward without his shadow." Through the window, I could see Sophie showing Martha her bracelet, her face glowing with joy. 6 months ago, I wouldn't have believed this piece was possible. My phone buzzed, an email from my publisher. The German novel I'd been translating was headed to print. My name would be on the cover, Elise Mitchell, translator. Not wife, not victim, just me. "There's something else." Peter pulled out an envelope. "From the pawn shop." Inside was a receipt and a note, found this in Ryan's old files. "Thought you should have it. Linda." The receipt was for my grandmother's necklace. Ryan had paid off the loan 2 days before our final confrontation, but never told me. Never used it as leverage. Never mentioned it at all. "He said it was the one thing he did right at the end," Peter said quietly. "Letting you win it back yourself." Sophie's laughter drifted out to the porch, mingling with the evening air. Inside, Clara was showing her how to make shadow puppets on the wall. Martha and Henry sat close together, watching their granddaughter shine. Linda arranged cookies on a plate, humming softly. This was my victory, not the court battles or exposed secrets, but this moment. This peace. This family, rebuilt from the ashes of what was lost. I touched my grandmother's necklace, feeling its familiar weight. "For the women in our family who know their worth," she'd said. Now I understood, worth wasn't something you proved to others. It was something you claimed for yourself. "Mommy!" Sophie called. "Come see what Clara taught me." I stood, leaving Ryan's letter on the porch swing. Maybe someday Sophie would read it, understand the complicated truth of her father. Maybe she'd learn that strength comes in many forms, in standing up, in walking away, in forgiving without forgetting. But tonight, watching her create light and shadow with her small hands, I saw only possibility. She would grow up knowing her worth. Knowing she was loved. Knowing that sometimes the happiest endings come not from revenge, but from the courage to begin again. "Coming, sweetheart," I called, stepping back into the warm light of our new life. Behind me, the letter waited. Ahead, Sophie smiled. And somewhere between past and future, I found the truth my grandmother had tried to teach me: some necklaces are made of gold and garnets. But the strongest chains are the ones we choose to break. I chose Sophie. I chose myself. And in the end, that made all the difference.